What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode in our journey to build the ultimate Game Boy collection. Last time, we took the first steps in adding to our collection with reproduction cartridges of Pokemon Sapphire, Leaf Green, and Mother 3. And today, we continue to build up our collection, and maybe make things a little neater too. So come along today as we continue to build up the ultimate Game Boy collection. Before we get into everything, if you couldn't tell, I actually moved in between filming some shots and editing the first video. In my move, I realized I forgot to mention a few games I had from the start, including the e-reader adapter for the Game Boy Advance, boxes for our Crash 2 and Golden Nugget Casino, and sealed box copies of Pong, Asteroids, Yard's Revenge, and Spiral Orange, The Cortex Conspiracy. Anyways, now back to the video. Like I mentioned before, this challenge can be a bit overwhelming at times. I mean, there's thousands of games spanning the entire Game Boy family to collect, so I figured the best way to start our game hunt was to isolate some of my more desirable titles and keep an eye out for those first. On top of my stream, and by strolling through a few online sites, we compiled a spreadsheet of some of my more desirable titles, as well as their average price, so I can quickly reference it if I'm out and about and happen to see one. I remember having the fondest memories playing the old Yu-Gi-Oh! And Dragon Ball Z games when I was a kid, so I made my first focus on finding those games. After scrolling through eBay for a bit, I found a lot of two of the Dragon Ball Z games I had when I was a kid in the Legacy of Goku and Teketsu for $19. Not the best games out there, but they had a big impact on me when I was younger, so I decided to grab them as the first two authentic games to add to our collection. Now all we need is a copy of Boo's Fury. I'll definitely be on the lookout for that one. After a few days, our game showed up and the seller even threw in a free game, Backyard Baseball. We'll take that. It was here though, I realized we were quickly running into a problem. The box I've been storing all the games in was starting to get a bit full. I mean, I can't even close this thing anymore. And plus, there's gotta be a better way to display our games than this. From my console collecting days, I've heard of this site called the Cover Project, where people upload full scans of game cover arts. I used these back in the day for my N64 collection. Here, I saw people using DS cases and the Game Boy slot in them to store their games. However, when I tried, I ran into a few problems. One, it's not as easy as to find DS cases, especially with the Game Boy slot in them anymore. Plus, they could be a bit expensive too. I mean, we have a lot of games, and I could also never get the artwork to fit the case great. It's always just been a bit short. After doing a bit more research, I think I found our solution. I've been seeing a lot of people use old cassette tape cases to store their Game Boy games, even making cool custom artwork for them too. Immediately I ran to my local Goodwill and picked up a few cases for 50 cents each, $3 total, and from there, I got to work. I figured let's start with our newest games. After scrolling through Reddit, I found a thread which linked to someone's custom-made artwork. Here, I was able to find the art for both Legacy of Goku and Teketsu. I threw both pictures into a Google Doc and edited the size of each photo to 4x4, the size of the cassette cases, and now we print, get out our scissors, and cut as carefully as we can. Now that we have our artwork ready, we can carefully fold it, and it should slide right into the case. Lucky for us, the Game Boy Advance games fit nicely in between the two cassette holders. If we did want to put an original Game Boy or Game Boy Color game in one of these things, we just gotta rip off one of the holders and they fit perfectly fine. Looking at our final product now, and it's not looking too bad. Of course we could upgrade our paper quality to make it look a little nicer, but for now, this will do just fine. Now, we're gonna need a lot more cases than this, so after a bit of digging, I actually found a pretty good deal on Amazon for a set of 25 for only 15 bucks. And they even came in this nice box. Should be perfect in storing our games for now. I opted to make a few more cases of our more popular games to fill the box for now, but we'll definitely have to be on the lookout for a cassette holder now so we can display our games in the open, and more than 25 at a time. For today's video, we added 6 Game Boy Advance games for $20.54, and 30 cassette tapes for $20.29, bringing our GBA total to 40 games, and our total spent for the challenge to $118.19. Thank you all again for watching. As always, be sure to be subscribed to keep up to date on our journey, and tune in next time as we continue to build up the ultimate Game Boy collection.